Hello? Hello, testing. Alright, so my microphone is working. So hi guys. It's been a while. Counting back, it's been like 3 weeks. Damn man, 3 weeks is a long time to have between projects. Although it was a vacation that I had planned for some months. I haven't been on a proper vacation for 4 years or something. So I guess it's deserved. But yeah, I think this was what we left off last time, not last week, last time, and I was actually making the armor for the Gatekeeper because we kind of finished like 95% of the body. Let's quickly delete these to increase performance. What are we doing today? Today we're going to actually redo the armor. That's the plan. Alright, so this was the guy that we imported, and you can see that this thing is supposed to go on his head over here. How does he see? He doesn't see. He senses life essence around him, and he attacks life essences around him. That's how he sees. Alright, so just to make this easier on me, I think I'm gonna give everything that's old a different material so I can know like what's been remade and what still has to be remade. Something like a dark, yeah, this is cool. And we'll give everything that's new, like white or something, and we'll name this material new assets, and this one old assets. So this way I can make this a lot easier on myself. Alright, so let's get going. And this one could be just this basic Lambert. All this body. Or I don't think I can change the name. Yeah. Alright, so we did this thing. I wanted to do I'm gonna get some bolts in here, and maybe like a few of these bolts flew off, and this metal is kind of like bended like outwards like that. Some really interesting stuff, really interesting possibilities. Probably going to replace this chain, but first I have to know what goes on this end of the chain and then on this end before I can actually place these, because doing the chain probably isn't that hard. I can even like do it now or something. For instance, just delete this chain, put this on there. I need to learn Maya RIP. Yeah, probably. I was a 3 days max boy for a very long time, but then I switched over to Maya because it was the a lot of companies used it, and Maya for me was a lot more tablet friendly than 3ds Max was. So like it being more tablet friendly was actually the reason I switched over. Actually, before I do this, I should unwrap this one so I don't have to unwrap all the rings. Also, same goes for this one. So let's quickly unwrap guy. So the easiest way to unwrap this is probably like select everything, do a simple planar, select this middle one and this middle one, like a loop around them, basically cut, go to faces again, select this, unfold, so this way we have like the whole thing perfectly unwrapped very quickly. You can even show with this thing like all the squares are even, so it's a good unwrap. Alright, so now that's the chain. But let's just where is it? Like align them on the whole texture sheet or UV space like that. Right, so this stays here, and later when we add more chains, the unwrap stays on top. And so what we need to do is we need to select all the chains that have the same unwrap and actually group them so Maya can stack them on top of each other without actually placing them outside of each other. Because if you group them and you do like an automatic arrange, it takes them all apart and just places them side by side instead of on top of each other. So that's the reason why we group the thing. And also like I'm going to imagine that because there isn't enough space over here, this thing is stuck. So actually this chain link can't go like this or like this because it's stuck like this between the metals. So because of that, the second chain it doesn't go like immediately like this because it didn't start that way. And I can afford to make these chains this amount of poly count because the lotting on the second one, second lot level of detail is probably going to be way lower, so I can actually afford to make the first lot as extreme as this. And also there's a certain aspect of placing these chains, whereas it needs to feel random. Like, it needs to feel that these chains weren't in one spot for a long time and were jiggling the whole time. So because of that, I'm going to give them small offsets in positions, rotations, like that, and actually going to imagine how they would rest on top of his back and how they would behave. For instance, the belly of this chain would be resting on top of this spine, which would cause this next chain to be elevated just like that, and then go straight downwards over here. Like, because there isn't anything resting, this could go like downwards without even touching his back. But then because this one is crossing like that, I could imagine that because of that piece of flesh over there, this would bend just like that, so it could fit. And because that's touching over there, I could even like move them like that. I mean, you think like, why are you putting that much thought in simple chains? But it's actually small things that if you add them all together, it adds a lot of life on your models. Do you make all 3 lots of yours by hand? No, I think I have a method of making the level of details. We can't accept donations of any kind because that would mean that we're making money off Oblivion, and that's illegal because it's property of Bethesda. Make it actually more interesting, I think I'm gonna make like chain that's broken or bent outwards, but I'll do that after I finish this one. Alright, so now that we have this chain going downwards over here, I need to find a way to make an insert into his waist with this part and stuff. I'm still thinking of how I could do that in an interesting way. For instance, this thing is like a huge adult diaper. I don't really like that. Maybe I'll give him something else. Not sure though. Just panning around, trying to find some interesting angles. Oh, I think I forgot to estimate this hand. Yeah, so now this hand is the high poly one. Fuck's sake, I can't find an. What if we? Add more chains, because why not? like that. So for now, I think I'm gonna delete or hide this, or maybe give it an opacity so I can actually see what's going on underneath, because I'm not sure if I want to do it so bland, because this is pretty bland. Placing a simple metal ring around his waist. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just delete this and make it a lot more interesting. So the way I would do it is maybe like bring a chain over here, just because it'll help me to imagine like what else to do. Like that. I was even thinking of making him a helmet of some kind. If I can pull my reference, like maybe something like this, would be pretty interesting. But yeah, we'll have to see. I kind of like this one and this one. Maybe use some kind of those, or like we. All right. So, oh, all right. Let's see. I would say just follow the art as far as I would say just say follow the art as far as you can. It doesn't it have like a leather skirt or something almost Roman? I'm not a big fan of following the art exactly as close as possible. I'm only keen on following the lore and finding my own interpretations in what the lore says, and not exactly how the thing in game looks, because the lore was probably written before the models were made, and the interpretation of the lore was at that time made for the standards of the PCs they had then. So the Lorekeeper that they made, Lorekeeper, the Gatekeeper that they made then was probably not like exactly like the one they wanted to make, but more like the one they had to make because of the technical restrictions they had back then. And just giving the Gatekeeper an upgraded skin, just a reskin, is actually very boring for the artist to work on. At least it's for me. I can just upgrading textures is something that just tires me a lot. It reminds me of punishment I used to get in middle school and elementary school when I was annoying. I would get a book and I had to rewrite 5 to 6 pages of it, and that would drive me crazy. And giving things updated skins, like textures, is kind of like that for me. So would you say that the Gatekeeper is similar to what they wanted? Yeah, I'd say, yeah. I do think that's like more like the Gatekeeper that they wanted. Because a big portion of making things for games is actually making compromises. Every model that's been made till this day is probably not exactly what the artist or designer had in thought, just because you can't have everything, because there are technical limitations. I mean, most stuff is probably almost exactly like how they wanted it, but not exactly like 100% of how they would like to have it. I mean, it's the reason why stuff looks better now than it did before. So now this guy has chains around his neck. I'm gonna make some broken chains on the ends, but I think I'm gonna leave that for the very end, because things might change. Now I actually need to find a find a way to actually close his waist and give him a chastity belt. Which isn't that hard. Maybe I was thinking of maybe doing stuff with rope, because now because that would add one more material to the whole thing, and it would make it a lot more interesting, because now we have metal, we have the flesh, and adding rope or kind of like cloth into the picture would make it a lot more interesting. Because rope is also the thing that's gonna go over here. So giving maybe like just binding this tight with metal pieces stuck around them or in between them would make it more interesting. Let me think. Or like one big metal sheet. I think I have an idea. And I think it would be easier to sculpt it in ZBrush. Trim curve is the one yes, this one. Oh shit. Just sometimes I get carried a lot and I just neglect the chat, but let me just quickly see if someone had some questions in chat. Any chance he can have a tooth necklace made out of defeated enemies? Or is he not sentient enough for that? I don't think he is sentient enough to do that. So now we can actually like have chain rings over here that connect to the chains on his side or on his front, or like the chain on the front on his front splits into two chains or something else. We can even have like, let me demonstrate. Stuff like that, maybe. I don't know, this is just more like shape, trying to find the correct shape language for this thing. Maybe even one more going up like this. And maybe even if we duplicate that, put it smaller on top of here, rotate this guy, put him over here, get him in shape actually how I want it. For instance, like this, and now I can duplicate this again. Or maybe this looks actually too sci-fi to actually pull off. But I was maybe thinking of a huge shield or something in front of him. Like that or something. But yeah, this might be too sci-fi. But I think I am going to keep that thing there because it adds just a tiny bit of variation. Because this whole thing goes like that, and this actually pops it off, and you get this interesting bulge in his silhouette. Whereas it follows, your eye follows like this curvature, going like that, and then goes upwards. But you can also choose to like follow this curvature, because if we just hide this, it would be kind of boring. But just by adding that thing over there, it actually makes it a tiny bit more interesting. Alright, so now we have this bomb squad like armor. Maybe this thing is too much. No, actually I'm gonna keep that. Or maybe like just do it like this. I'm not sure if it would. I think I'm gonna leave like this part open, just because I don't see a reason to cover that up, or I wouldn't see a reason why the necromancer would invest time in covering the area between. Yeah, just covering that area up. I wouldn't see a reason to do that, as if I were a necromancer. So now I'm just gonna give shape to the armor and see how I can make this more interesting. Because this is just a block out, kind of like a block out for the armor. Alright, so now we have kind of like what I want of this armor, just something big, bulky, and it fits this guy. Work these down. So I can, oh shit. So I can edit them as a whole. Like this. Right. Let's see how can we improve this. I'm gonna quickly group all the ones that are similar together. Yeah, it is. It's kind of a shame that this part gets blocked. So I'm gonna find a way to actually open it up. This or something. So maybe like something in there that you need to hit for a critical hit, but you couldn't hit it from the front. Right, so now I need to find a way to I think I'm gonna just render these plates out. Merge this downwards. Let's just export them towards to my Gatekeeper armor new. So now so now we have this stuff, and coincidentally this chain can go over there. And now I know that I can safely, or no, not safely. Now I'm gonna make something like a ramp with a ring on top of it that connects to this part of the thing. So now we have this all thick plate thing. Like, I think I'm gonna add some chains over here, but actually add the chains on this side, I think I'm gonna make them pretty loose, so that way let me just quickly detach this like that. On quickly, like I'm gonna excuse me, I'm gonna make these chains a bit loose, so when it rests it actually like slants downwards, and the only thing keeping it from even like sliding off his pants, like this whole chain around his neck. So if it had a perfect fit on this guy, it would probably be more like this, like that or something, but because it's because his neck is holding it in place, it you can actually you actually have this empty space here, which adds like a little bit more lifelike stuff to the image. I could even make like small accessories, like maybe fingers or eyeballs or heads or something, or like bones from other assets around his body. I'm actually also very confused of what this thing is. Like, what is this? I'm not sure what the creators of this original mesh were thinking. I think they had like, they didn't have enough time, so they thought I just make this whole arm like metal or something. But I'm going to see to it that this also gets something interesting. But before that, I need to make this armor. So like split to parts. Now these are all parts, and start with oh wait, I did something wrong. I'm not sure where those came from, but yeah, now we have these parts. I wanna split them even more. Right. Does that arm have to be metal? No, I'm not going to make that arm completely metal. We'll get to that issue when we're at the arm. Let's start with the biggest one first. So this one actually decides how the rest looks. Let's dynamesh this a lot higher than it was before. We're also going to add tattoos on his body. The original one had that, and it's lore-wise correct to add them. This is something I say every time I stream, and that's if you're watching this on YouTube and you have like a big question and you're just spamming YouTube with the question, you have more luck if you join Twitch and ask that question, because I have Twitch chat on my second screen, and I sometimes look at my second screen to see if there are some questions. So I'm not looking at YouTube, just because YouTube can get quite spammy and I can't fish out questions there. It's a lot easier to fish them out in Twitch. So just a heads up for anyone that has a question on YouTube. Are there going to be more models like this done on stream? Maybe. I actually don't have any idea. What are you currently working at? I'm currently working on the armor that we're going to put on his body. How much time will this take? Wouldn't the metal plates be a lot less refined? I don't think the people who made this guy cared too much about his comfort. They didn't care about his comfort, but they did care about how well it would fit around his body so he could move as efficiently as possible. So that's the reason why I'm placing all these things like that. I mean, I'm not gonna place cushions on the insides because it'll hurt his skin, but I'm just gonna make it so that it would make sense if he's moving. How are you going to connect the pieces of the armor together and keep them flexible enough? I think I'm gonna do it with chains. Add a ring there, and a chain between. Same goes for here. Same goes for the other spots. Other question for Hakan. Do you actually work with an image as a reference? If yes, can we see the image? As of this moment, I'm not working with an image reference. I don't know why. I probably should working with an image as a reference, but I'm not feeling like I can quickly find an image that looks like what I'm making. So that's why I don't use an image. Are you going to include the different arms that are in the original game and possibly different appearances for the different body parts that you can switch around? For instance, arm of bashing, arm of chopping. Keep up the good work anyways. Thanks. I think I am, or someone else is going to do that, but the team is probably willing to do what you just suggested. I mostly do whole creatures, and if there are variations to be made, I'll pass them down to other people because I have other whole creatures to do. Question: why don't you use original meshes from Oblivion? We did. For the Gatekeeper, this guy, I used the original mesh from Oblivion. The reason I'm not using it for the chest thing is because it's not very interesting, and I would like to do a different way. It would be great if the armor were bolted into his bones. It would be practical for the necromancer and a nice way to attach to the body. Yeah, I was I was thinking about that, but the reason I didn't do that is because that would mean I would have to make metal spikes into his body, and if I'm going to skin the body after it's finished, then I would have to skin it as such that the bolts that are attaching the armor into his body aren't bending through the middle, because metal has to stay straight if you want to skin them on top of meshes. So, but if I did bolt them into on top of his body, I would run the risk of having very weird bending bolts around his body that are moving up and down when he is walking, which would completely break immersion personally for me. I'm not sure if I mean, that's the main reason I didn't do what you just suggested, Grey Noma. But yeah, that's the main reason why I didn't do that. It's very technical. It's a very technical reason of why I didn't do that, because the waist area when he's walking, because he's so crumpled, is very active, and if you're attaching things like on top of into his bones, you would have to make sure that they also move together with his body. So that's well, if you do that, you get the the bending metal bolts that are bolted on top of his body. But if you do something like this, like a huge diaper that doesn't attach directly to his body, I can move these things separately, like this and that, instead of you getting something like this or something. For instance, like if he's walking, then you get this on top of the metal bolt, because like this part, the mask part here, is not touching the body, while this part over here is entering the body. So when he's moving, you get something like this around the bolt, which would create very weird effects. Which comes back to everything that I'm I'm doing. I'm making sure if it's unwrap friendly, deformation friendly, skinning friendly. So now we're almost done with the high poly on this armor piece. I think the only thing left is, one of the only things left is masking this out, inverting that, and just going to the other side. I'm gonna mask this part out. So now this part isn't masked out. And what I can do now is I can move this inwards, and now it looks like this whole bolt is beaten into metal, which caused the metal to deform like that. All right, now I'm going to do this thing, but I think it'll be easier if I do that thing inside of Maya, because doing modeling work like this is a lot easier in Maya than it is in I know you're a 3D artist, but can we know his future resolution? Body and build 1K, 2K, 4K, 4K. It's going to be 4K. And although I'm a 3D artist, I also do texturing. Alright, so let's start with this tiny cube. Place that tiny cube over here. In the middle or something. Or wait, this whole thing isn't in the middle. Might be a bit much for the entire game to be 4K. You can, well, I think there is a way to actually lower the size that it loads into the game. I've not, yeah. I'm sure it won't be a huge problem because we will have a lot of ways to optimize the final version of the game. I wouldn't worry about huge texture sizes. Well, you have an incredible skill on this program. Thanks, man. It always surprises me how people, how like what I'm doing, seem very difficult and like hardcore to people that have that like don't know how I'm doing these things. Like for someone that's never heard of gaming or 3D or just starting it, he doesn't know what he doesn't know. For instance, I could probably tell you guys some tricks and you'll be like, oh well, that's not that difficult. If I literally explain it step by step, it won't be super difficult. For instance, for the thing that I'm doing now, I just placed a cube in here and just stretched it out so I could get this thing. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select these and I'm gonna extrude them. Holy shit, look at that skill. Whew. Damn. Sometimes I surprise myself. But yeah, it's just a guy I know once said is complicated things are actually a lot of simple things. And that's kind of like how I approach every situation. It's like if something's complicated, it's mostly if you can do it step by step. And if you do it step by step, you'll probably have an easier time instead of like looking at it and being like, holy shit, this is impossible, how can I do this? I mean, every long journey starts with one simple step. Are there other people working on the other creatures? With all the time it takes, there's no way you can make every creature by yourself in time, surely. That is correct, but luckily we have people that are working on other creatures and other aspects of creature making things, stuff. So don't worry, we got this. Romora, a year passes, I have made 4 creatures. If I had a complete year to just work on this and I could and I got paid, I could finish all these creatures in less than a year, for sure. Because I'm only dedicating like a few, let's see, how long do I work on this stuff? Probably like 8 hours a week, and that's because I have other projects that I get paid for that require more attention than this one. Whoops. I think I actually accidentally pressed a button which made my screen go dead. I don't necessarily love Skyrim that much. I just love the process of making stuff. And what I really like is like putting my stuff in actual games. And because I'm doing creatures, it's actually like difficult to find projects that have like working systems to put your own creatures in games. And because there is such opportunity for me to actually show my stuff out in games, actual working games where my creatures are actually like fighting players and stuff. That's actually the main reason I'm in this project. Like if they had a build that didn't work, like if they had a Skyrim build that didn't work, I wouldn't be on this project. I'm only doing this to see my stuff actually fight and die. That was also always the reason for me to go into game developing. Right, I'm getting sidetracked. This body, this thing needs to pick that chain up. I think I'm gonna make like a hook. Starts from here and goes like that. Yeah, that would be nice. If there are people from Twitch watching, please join Discord. I mean, not Discord. Yeah, also join the Discord and join the Twitch, because I answer the questions on Twitch and not on YouTube. Pick up. I mean, to look at it another way, think of a game you're not super enthusiastic about, but you were exactly what they needed for something in the game. Would you still take pride in your work? Let's read that again. I think like because creating a game is a huge ordeal. There are a lot of aspects in making the game that actually like would affect my how much pride I take in working for a certain game. For instance, if the whole design idea of the game is flawed, then I would guess that what I'm doing isn't what the art director is liking, because if it was something that he liked, then I guess the art direction wouldn't be flawed, because flawed in this case means that it's not interesting for me. So if the art style is cool but the gameplay sucks, then I'd still take pride in in the work that I did there. I'm not sure if this was like very well said, but like if the whole art style of the game is cool, then I'll take pride in the work. But if it's not, then I'll have a harder time taking pride in what I just made. Do you ever stream on your own channel or anywhere else? Let's think. I streamed once, and I was doing some anatomy studies, but I haven't streamed since then. I'm not sure why. Mostly because when I stream, it's mostly just me and two other people that probably forgot to turn the stream off. So if I'm all alone by myself, I mostly don't really see why I should stream. Streaming is also kind of like scary, not because there are other people around, but because if you make one mistake, it's forever on the internet. I mean, if someone clips it, well then, you're a meme forever. But that's obviously like an extreme case. How long has this model been in the works? This is I think the 5th week it's been in the works, and the 5th week, I'd say 18-19 hours. Not super long. I've done projects that took way longer. What will you be doing after the Gatekeeper? I think the Lich, because that one's sculpt-wise not very difficult, but it's very model intensive because of certain things in the model. And also I always wanted to make a Lich. Now I can delete this and we can get the import. Right, go downwards. Not even sure that's needed. What will happen in the space between the armor and the leg of the belly? Why is the armor for a fat person if it has space beneath it? The armor isn't for a fat person. It doesn't fit snugly on this guy. So that's why he has this chain on his neck. Keep it from falling off. Oh, screen again. Thanks for the heads up. Like that. Now I have to find a way to merge these guys. Find a way. Hmm. I don't like the way this looks. Looks like a snake or something. Hmm. Alright, maybe I could put a hole in it. Punch through the metal. But this would be way, like, if it's gonna be a hole, it should be around over here. Or like from two sides. So do I want 2 chains or 1? Yeah, this does look more supportive. I think I'm gonna leave it like this. Now this guy is hooked up. Frontal body armor. And yeah, every time you put 2 circular objects in front of something, it always looks like an eye or a face. Every time. I mean, if I have here, like even here. If you look at this long enough, you'll see a face. It's the problem. But yeah, I need to find a way to connect these 2 plates. Probably. Oh wait, I should do this arm. Yes, let's do the blade arm. First, I'm gonna just look at how the original guys made this thing. And I'm actually, I'll probably have to change stuff over here because there are certain things that go into the arm, or like just like dig into the upper arm or the biceps stuff. So let's see, how can we do the arm? I like how this thing is like there's a extra small blade on the back. A nice little bit of detail. You get this. We have these bolts over here. I guess are supposed to go into his arm, which makes sense. These are leather straps, I think. That'd be interesting. Leather straps around his arm with his blade. But if we go and look at how they did it in Elder Scrolls Online and other stuff, other concepts, you can see that. All right, so this is just like this is more like a Captain Hook design. This one goes underneath his skin. This one, Captain Hook. This one is the same as this. And here you can see that it goes under his skin. Think, how can we make the attachment of the blade to his arm cool? I think I'm gonna do a combination between leather straps, rope, and bolts, because then you have like a lot of things going on over here, which would make it more interesting for the player. All right, we also have this. That's pretty cool with the two bits of hanging off. But yeah, doing this would mean like in Elder Scrolls Online they used the flappy skin thing. Here again they used the flappy skin thing. Same stuff here. And the guy who drew this is also for the Elder Scrolls Online. He also did this stuff. So if I also do kind of stuff, it wouldn't feel as original, because having an arm that's transitioning into a weapon is very Gatekeeper-ish, and it's like the thing that it's one of the main thing that's that shouts Gatekeeper. So I want to kind of make it like not necessarily super unique, but kind of unique. All right, his feet. Oh yeah, let's eat this simple stuff. Let's do that first. Yeah, we can do that later. Okay, so I just came up with an idea. So here we see metal going into his arm. And here we see also metal going into his arm. Some skin on top of it. What if I place this thing like so that his arm is actually going around the weapon, like an overgrown tumor or something, like going kind of like engulfing the weapon. We delete this. And if I like Google like, for instance, you would have this sword in his arm, and with like this tree cancer stuff growing around it. That could maybe bear some interesting results. But first I need to find a way to do that. I think that's easily done, and I mean the fastest done in ZBrush. Start with a sphere. First let's lower you like that. Start with a sphere. Move you over. The cancer around his arm is holding the weapon in place. I mean, I'm gonna put some bits of metal in there that would suggest that there once was stuff like this, like a classic Captain Hook arm, but because of excuse me, but because of things that went wrong, it's actually all diseased and hard and dry and stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna try to do something like that. No, not a subtle transition from arm to sword. It's like the sword is lodged into his arm. He had a completely healthy arm before, but now, like the necromancer uses maybe like cancer to fortify stuff, because tumors tend to be hard. I mean, they can be hard, especially harder than soft tissue. So maybe it uses that kind of stuff. But yeah, I need to make a sword first. I'm gonna make a sword. Alright, so the sword. Make it long. Pretty long. Oh, what? Oh. I'm not sure why it's doing this. Oh, right, it's symmetry. Well, I think I'm gonna make a mace actually, because I've always done swords. I think I'm gonna make a mace, because a mace is more interesting in my opinion than a sword, because a sword is very flat and just dull for now. So I think we'll keep this around over here, but I think I'm gonna start with a mace because I like maces. And if we look at the mace that they can actually something interesting. Aha! I didn't see that. I've never made mazes, so this is a first for me. For some reason, I always press a numpad. I don't even remember myself pressing it. So weird. These. Might want to add a modifier to your hotkey. What do you mean by that? I'm not sure how to make this maze. Oh, a modifier. Yeah, I have everything on hotkeys on my numpad, but I press them for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, so for this, so let's fuck it. Do it very ugly. For it's too ugly. I can't do that, man. I have to finish this. But how? Well, I think I'm gonna just leave the weapon as it is now. I'm gonna finish this armor, the high poly, and then I'm gonna call it quits for today because I think it's been 3 hours or something. 2.5 hours. So that's perfect time. Now we can we're gonna bolt downwards, but I'm gonna use actual cylinders because it's easier that way. Those won't need any. But these ones in the back do need. Or do they? Yeah, because there is no physics. I am going to add holes here, but not now, because that's something for later. It isn't necessary. For now, I'm gonna like add this over here, so this kind of like keeps that in place. There's probably a better way to actually keep that lodged in place. I don't like how that looks. Oh shit. Every time I stream for the last 3 weeks, because I've had a cold for the last 3 weeks or something. I mean, the last 3 times I stream, and every time, well, if I'm feeling a cough come up, I press F12, and F12 is what I use to mute my microphone. But sometimes a cough gets through, and it scares the shit out of you guys. So I need to find something to so that guide you, but not waste time and continue. How are we going to connect these two? Or maybe I should delete this and just connect these. This way we could also show more skin from the side, so it would be in turn more interesting. Like that. Yeah, this makes more sense. And for this I can do a hinge. Adding some random ass chains. I'm going to merge this, then export this, open 3ds Max, because 3ds Max has something that Maya doesn't have, and I'm gonna show you in a bit why I'm opening Max for that. No, not reducing tessellation. Something very simple. Where is it? Skyblivion, I think. Gatekeeper. Armor new. Oh my god, I've totally forgot how to use Max. And this is what Max can do and what do you call it? Maya can't. At least I don't know how. I don't know of anything. I mean, it might be able to, but I don't know how. So that's why I'm just opening Max now. Gonna unwrap this so I don't have to unwrap it later. So now I can just Some longer spikes. I could, but I don't think it would add like a lot. So now I need to find something for hold these in place, and I think I know what to do. I am going to decimate this mesh so I can import it to Maya. I'll have a better understanding of how it looks while making the armor then. Those look cool and all, but if he bends over, wouldn't they just unhinge? He doesn't bend over. If you face him, you have to bend over. I'm gonna go get something to drink while this is processing.
Right, I'm back.
Um, what is my resolution? My resolution is 920 by 1200. There. Now it will probably won't unhinge. Unhinge. What if we make his belly bigger? Just what if? I might make a fat version. I think that the fat things are interesting. Right, so the armor part is kinda done, except for this part. And hinge that there. Like that. So now he is tied up. Let's see, half a chain. Maybe that could work. I was also thinking about that, but I wasn't sure how well. I mean, okay, this works. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go with what you said because it holds up better, and having less circular shapes makes this guy just less friendly looking, because circular things are very friendly. Still 2 pieces to connect in the back. Oh, you mean like this? Yeah, I'm gonna put a chain there, because if I bolt this, there isn't any connection to be bolted to. We have this. Like that. Chains are too big for that. I might be in need of some smaller chains. What if you make the chain links more diamond-like? Diamond-like? What do you mean by that? Diamond shape chains. I'm not sure this is what you meant. Hmm. Lord of the Belt. I'm not sure how I can kick him. Hmm. What is he saying? Oh yeah, guys, if you if you have any questions, please come to Twitch and ask the questions, because I don't look at the YouTube chat, because there are, I just don't look at the YouTube chat because it's very spammy in there. It's hard for me to pick out a sensible question. Hmm. Let me see if I can get someone. Never mind. Fuck it. I mean, if you guys are bothered by him, just ignore him. Not gonna waste. If I had the power to ban him, if I knew how I could ban someone, I would, but I don't. I have no idea how I can ban people. Wait, why don't I just... this? Alright, and now, as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm gonna do a broken chain. Ah, that kind of shape. Um, that kind of shape would work, but at this moment, I think it'll be too much work to redo it. But I appreciate you drawing it out and showing it to me. Thank you. Question for Hakan. Did you work on a mod for Skyrim before? No, this is my first mod for Skyrim. Yeah, thanks for the suggestion, Kodaki. But no, there isn't a button to magically change everything. Mainly because they all have different positions, and I haven't, and I didn't start. I didn't instance them in the beginning. Oh yeah, because this is also going to be used a lot. I'm gonna. Hakan, how does it feel to have the same name as a Street Fighter character? Um, Maybe you should ask the Street Fighter character how it feels to have a name like me. Then I click that one, cut, click the opposite, and then it does stuff. That again. These. Why don't you try to work for Bethesda? Because I don't think I'm good enough, and because I probably have to relocate to America. I don't, or maybe somewhere in France. And also, I don't think I'll stand a chance. There we go. Those are unwrapped. Find them. That. Now we can use this chain on. For instance, these are perfect spots to use broken chains. like that. What if Hakan is secretly Todd Howard? I don't know, man. Am I? Am I Todd Howard? Maybe you might find out when this creature is done. Just to add some more variation to the broken chains, I'm gonna shorten this, bend this more outwards. This and I think it was optimize. Yeah, so now it's optimized, and now we have two different chains that are broken. Yeah, Kolgur, without there not being physics is it's just terrible now that we're just using chains. But yeah, what can we do? Life's too short to worry about physics. Now, I think can do hinges. Oh, I think I accidentally duplicated my spikes. Please don't crash. Please don't crash. Please don't crash. Please don't crash. I'm sorry if I upset you. Please. I only wanted to smooth. I think it's gonna crash. Come on. I think it crashed. It happens. Auto back, was it? Or Maya? I forgot where Maya automatically backups. I know for sure that I turned auto back on. Like I don't have a doubt. I don't doubt that I turned it on, but I need to know where. What the fuck? I think I made a terrible mistake. So yeah, this was a tutorial on how to lose 4 hours of work. Make sure to not save. Don't enable autosave. If you truly want to make sure that you lose all your work, don't do all those things. But if you do want to keep your work, turn on autosave. Do whatever. I mean, I thought, I was sure that I turned on saving and stuff, but it didn't. Well, I'm not even sure why the default would be off. I am destroyed. I messed with Todd Howard, and he fucked me. I should never have joked about him. I'm going to change my desktop just to make me feel better. Well, guys, this was the stream. The great thing is there will be a video on YouTube on how to lose 4 hours of work, but I'll make sure to actually redo everything off stream, so we kinda know. I mean, let's actually import the stuff, like stuff that we exported. Maybe there's some things left. I mean, like, look, we have the spikes. That's something. Spikes are here. What else do we have? Like this armor, maybe. Yeah, we have the armor. All right. Cool. Good. What else do we have? Maybe like reference. We have this. So basically the only thing we lost were the chains. Yeah. Hopefully next week you guys won't miss out on anything, because I'll probably redo all of this in my own free time, and next week we'll continue where we left off. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions, you can add me on Discord or something. Like, I mean, questions as in production questions, 3D questions. If you're depressed or something, you shouldn't talk to me. Not those kind of questions. But general 3D stuff, I'll be willing to help. I've helped few people, not a bunch. Yeah, just a few people. Nothing too special. If you're interested to join the project, you can join the project. I mean, there's probably a excuse me, probably a link somewhere where you can join the project. If you like my work, watch my streams again. Not gonna ask you guys to press like or follow, kind of stuff. If you really want to, you'll probably do it yourself. But yeah, I am going to go and nurture my broken heart. I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye, guys.